And welcome to the January Mindful Crafts subscription box. This is going to be my 2022 focus to make sure that subscription boxes are fabulous for everyone that receives one, that you've got 2 projects in each box. Each project comes with a video tutorial just like the one that you're watching, and there's going to be a range of crafts throughout the next 12 months. So to begin with, I thought I'm thinking ahead to next month where it's Valentine's Day. So we're going to be making a macrame heart coaster, and also one of our most popular projects is the macrame heart design. Now it's exactly the same design whether you make it as a coaster or on the dowel as a wall hanging. So for this you will need a pet brush or a brush to be able to feather out the edges. You need some sharp scissors. You need a dowel, which is in your box. We're using the 3mm bobbiny single twist cord, and I'm using this because it frays very nicely, frays very easily. I'm also working on my cork board, which is what, if you've seen other tutorials, you'll see that I work quite often on the cork board. So then I have some pins ready to hold things into place. So you get yourself sorted, grab yourself a cup of tea, cup of coffee, whatever you fancy, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so to begin with, I'm going to put my dowel here, and as you've seen previously, I just pin it into place, which just gives me a little bit more support whilst I'm working. And I'm going to then cut myself 12 1 metre lengths of cord. Okay, so I used the Fiskars scissors. These are really nice sharp scissors, give you a very blunt edge. They're available on the website should you wish to have a look. And I'm going to cut myself 12 of these cords. So you do that and I'll meet you in a second. Okay, so I have cut my 12 lengths of 1 metre, and although we're going to be cutting the heart off the dowel, we're going to attach the cords to the dowel to hold it secure whilst we're working. Okay, so I'm going to attach all 12 cords with a lark's head knot, or this is a reverse lark's head knot, it really doesn't matter. So loop over, open the loop out and pull the cords through. I'm going to do that with all 12 cords. So loop, loop, pull it all the way through, and there we go. So you attach all 12 cords and I'll meet you when we're done. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're actually going to make the heart part of the coaster with the square knot. Okay, if you've done macrame before, you'll be familiar with a square knot. If you haven't, this is how we're going to do it. So I'm going to leave, in fact I've got the TV flicker here, I'm going to leave it's sort of like 1 inch or more gap, and then I'm going to leave aside the first 4 cords, and I'm going to take the next 4 cords to make the square knot. So we always use 4 cords to make a square knot, and if you've got something that's nice and straight, then it's just going to help you keep it level. Okay, you can use a ruler or anything straight. So, square knot, 4 cords. Centre 2 cords are the holding cords. They do not do anything. It's the outer 2 cords, which are called the working cords, which actually make the knot. Okay, now I think of the left hand cord as my L cord, because you can see it makes an L. Some people say it makes number 4, whatever suits you. And then the right hand cord, it's going to go over that L cord, and then it's going to go under the holding cords. So we've gone over, under, and then we're still underneath, but we're going to go up and through that L loop. Okay, so we've gone over, under, up and through. And that's the little saying that I remember. Well, I did remember when I was first learning macrame. So it was like over, under, up and through. And then you just pull those to where you want it to sit. Okay, so that's the first half of the square knot. Now for the second half of the square knot, my right hand cord, I call my P cord, because to me that makes a P. Okay, then I'm going to take my L cord, and it's going to do exactly the same but just in reverse. So it's going to go over, then it's going to go under. Okay, so we've gone over the P, under the holding cords, and then we're going to go up. We're still under, up and through that P loop. Okay, and then just pull those tightly, not too tightly, because you still want to see the definition of the knot. Okay, and that is your first square knot. All right, now you may need to rewind that a few times, which is absolutely fine, but if you just remember over, under, up and through. Okay, so I'm going to do exactly the same now on the right hand side. So bring all my cords, make sure they're not overlapping, because I don't want to get them confused. So I'm going to leave those 4 cords to the right, and I'm going to take the next 4 cords. Oh, a sneaky one snuck in there. All right, so I've got my 2 holding cords again, my L cord, and then my P cord goes over, under, up and through. Okay, you will get into a rhythm when you do this, and it will just become second nature. And then my P cord, so P, there's my P from my right hand cord, and then my left hand cord goes over, under, up and through. Okay, now another little tip is I just tend to put my thumb on those holding cords, just so that they stay in place whilst you're pulling that, so it meets the first part. Okay, so now we have got 2 square knots. All right, there we go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make the next part of the heart. So we had 1 square knot here, and now we're going to do what we call alternating square knots. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take the 2 right hand cords of that first square knot we made, and I'm going to take the next 2. Okay, move the others out the way so that they don't confuse you. Okay, and then we're going to make another square knot. So L loop, over, under, up and through. Pull it just so it sits underneath the previous one. Okay, you don't want to pull it too tight because that will be at a diagonal and we don't want that. Okay, you just want to over, under, up and through. You want it to sit there. Okay, and I'm going to do the same on the left hand side. So I've got those 2 L cords. I've got the next 2 cords. And I'm going to do over, under, up and through for the first part of the square knot. Okay, and then my P cord, there's my P, over, under, up and through, and there we go. Okay, so now if I bring all the cords down and put them, right, make sure that they're not overlapping because we want them to be sitting nice and flat. Okay, so there you can see we've increased that side of the heart now. Okay, so we did the 1, we've now increased and we've got 2. So we're going to do exactly the same on the right hand side. So we're going to leave those first 2 cords. We're going to take the right hand 2 cords and the spare 2, and we're going to make another square knot. So over, under, up and through. Over, under, up and through. Okay, and then the left hand 2 cords and the next 2 cords, and it's going to be over, under, up and through. And as I keep saying, you'll get into your own rhythm. Okay, so there we go. So now I have got my first row, which had 1 square knot either side. Now I've got 2 square knots. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 1, 2, 3, remember in groups of 4, and this is where you need to make sure they're straight. So 4, 5 and 6. Okay, so on this next row we're going to have 6 square knots going across. So you do that now and I'll meet you there. Okay, so for that row I've done the 6 across, and what we're going to do now is, because we've got 2 separate parts of the heart, we're actually going to start the next row in the centre. I'm going to take the 2 right hand cords from this square knot and the 2 left hand cords from this square knot, and then what that's going to do is it's going to join these together, and it's going to make the coaster secure. Okay, so start from the centre, and then this time you'll have 2 more to the side, at the left hand side, sorry, and you'll have 2 spare, and then you'll have 2 square knots on the right hand side, and you'll have 2 spare. Okay, do that now, and I'll meet you in a minute. Okay, so I've completed the row that has now got 5 square knots, which has joined the top 2 parts of the heart. And then the next row, we're going to repeat row 3. So we're going to start right here on the left hand side, and we're going to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 square knots all together. Okay, this is going to be the last part of the widest part of the heart before we then start reducing. Okay, so if you do that now, and I'll see you when we're done. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to begin reducing to the point of the heart. So what we're going to do is each time we start, we're going to leave 2 cords spare from the left, and then we'll have 2 cords spare from the right. And then the next row, let me show you. So we're going to have, this is repeating row 4. So we're going to have 1 square knot here. And then we will have another 1, 2, 3, 4 square knots. And then when we move on to the next row, I'm going to leave the next 2 cords on the left, and we'll have the spare 2 cords on the right, and we will gradually decrease. So we'll have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 square knots. So if you do that now, and I'll meet you when we're done. Okay, so I've now completed the heart, and what we're going to do is we're now going to take this heart off the dowel. So I'm just going to get my scissors, and I'm just going to cut straight across there. This is where a good pair of scissors really come in handy. And then I'm just going to roughly, and we'll be able to trim it in a bit, roughly chop the cords at the bottom of the heart. Get rid of the spares, you can always keep those, make feathers and little bits and pieces. And then all we're going to do is with our pet brush or pet comb, or any comb, Nick comb's quite good, or just an old brush you've got lying around, we just want to very carefully, just trim that bit off. We want to very carefully start brushing these outer cords out to feather them. Now it's going to take a little while to get them to this stage, but what I'd suggest you do is just do it gently this side, then turn it over, and then do it gently again that side. Hold these though so that they don't pull the knots. You don't want to pull the square knots out of shape. Okay, so you can see how that's beginning to feather quite nicely now. And you're going to do that all the way around the heart. Okay, so imagine I've done that all the way around the heart. And then the final touch is just, if you want to, I mean, you can leave them like that, but you could just, with your sharp scissors, just trim the edging so it's got a nice sharp finish. And again, you can go around trimming as much as you want to. So if you do that, so if you brush it out again, then you get little bits that stick out. So I'd go around and trim that again. So do that all the way around, and then I'll meet you when we're finished. Okay, and there you go. There is your completed macrame heart coaster. So there we go. There's our completed macrame heart coaster. Ideal for Valentine's Day to decorate a table if you're having a meal with a special someone, or just to have in your living room or bedroom. They just make a really nice decoration. Now, if you have bought the subscription box, you will have had a complete roll of bobbiny, which is 100 metres. So you'll be able to make this project and the hanging heart on the wooden dowel project. And you'll also have plenty, and you can make a set of 4 or 5 coasters. You're going to have plenty there to work with. Right, if you've enjoyed what you've seen today, please hit on the like subscribe, and I'll keep you updated with more tutorials regularly. Thanks for watching. Bye.